How's it going out there, YouTubers? Cyberneticshark here with another new, awesome, amazing video just for you. So let's get right into this awesome video and see what it's about. So welcome to another video, guys. As always, thank you for watching, thank you for liking, thank you for subscribing. Oh, yes. Thank you so much. Anywho, time to be serious. Nobody even talking. Anyways, so welcome to my 10 worst films of 2018. So now, I found that there wasn't a ton of films in 2018 that I hated, unfortunately. A lot of people, they have like 20, 30 films that they hated. A lot of people have that. But I could only come up with 10 that I really hated, thought they were really bad films, and thought that just aesthetically, visually, story-wise, and so forth were, bad enough to make this list. Now, some of these, a lot of people are going to be like, oh my god, I love that movie. Oh my god, it's so good. But unfortunately, I didn't find it entertaining. I didn't find it really, as great as people said it was. And, some of them, people are going to be like, huh? It's like funny if you ever go onto Facebook or if you go look online on Reddit or something and you see people's different lists, you can see how many people have different taste levels. So this is my taste level. Doesn't mean you're going to agree with it, but this is my view of what I felt was the worst of 2018. So let's get right into this. So coming in at number 10 on this list, number 10, folks, is a movie that, at first I thought that the trailer looked really good, thought it was going to be good, and after watching it, I was just kind of sitting back, looking at the film, going back over it and going, man, this movie could have been so much better. But at the same time, it wasn't on the top of my worst list of 2018. And that is the Gabrielle Union film, Breaking In. Now, if you haven't seen Breaking In, basically what the movie's about is Gabrielle Union is just moving into a new house, basically, that's her father's, and she's trying to pick up the pieces after he all of a sudden dies. And she's, like, going through the stuff, getting it ready to sell and stuff like that. And while she's there with her kids, these intruders break in, and she has to basically save the day. And so that seems like a really great, fun film. I always like movies like that where, there's a heroine or, there's the main person that is trying to save their family members from bad guys, etc., etc. Great storyline idea. But the movie just fell short for me. It was just too bad because I thought it had so much potential because Gabrielle Union's a great actress. I really enjoy her. Thought she's a really fantastic actress. And it wasn't up to par for what it could have been. I thought that the writing could have been better. I thought the action sequences weren't too bad. They were, somewhat entertaining and not too bad. But overall, the film just fell really bad for me, and I had to put this on my 10 worst of 2018 because I just felt that there was so much more they could have done with it. Like I said, the story could have been better. The acting could have been better in it, and it just could have been longer, too, because I felt that it was such a short film that there was so much that was missing that they could have added in to make the story more plausible and understandable. So I thought that they could have done more with that, too, as well, and, could have just been all around a better film. So coming in at number 9 on this list, people, number 9 is a film that was considered kind of a big success. It was going to be considered, a really, like, tour de force type of film that was also considered, a big, success at, like, Sundance and stuff like that. Unfortunately, after watching it, I thought it was pretty boring. I thought it could have been so much better, and also it could have been a lot better close for Anton Yelchin, because unfortunately he passed away. Was crushed by his own car, unfortunately, back in 2017. And it's just so sad that he died so young, but he, still had a few other films that had to still come out after he had passed. And this was one of them. And that happens to be a film called Thoroughbreds. Now, this movie has a great cast. I mean, it had Anton Yelchin. It had the gal from Split in it. It has a great, awesome cast of characters and just really well done, actors and actresses that were involved in this film. And I thought there was going to be so much more to it, and a lot more better. And just like the storyline and how it progressed, it was interesting, but at the same time, I felt that the writing was lackluster, and that it could have had more to it, and that it could have been a little bit more thought out. And I just thought the acting was kind of overacting in it. And I wish Anton Yelchin had a bigger part in the film as well. But, Anna Taylor-Joy that's in it, she's kind of like the main, actress in it. And it's her kind of character that's dealing with the majority of the drama in the film. And, she's a good actress, but I just felt that she was kind of overacting it in the film and wasn't as good as, like she was in The Witch or in Split. And I just thought that this movie fell short in that. This movie got so much praise, and I'm just like thinking to myself, I'm like, this really isn't that entertaining, and also I don't think it's anything special, and so I thought that it could have been so much better, and that's why it ended up at number 9 on my 10 worst of 2018. So coming in at number 8 on my list of the worst of 2018 is another film that a lot of people thought was really good, really enjoyed it. It's a Rotten Tomato Fresh film. It's a fantasy drama film, where there's fantasy elements, in it, that, have cool visual effects and stuff like that. The movie is visually beautiful. I really enjoyed that. I thought that pretty much everyone in it was really good. But once again, the story was lacking for me, and just, it was so depressing, the film, too. And I wish there had been a little bit more joy and a little bit more happiness in the film, even though that the story is supposed to be kind of sad, where it's, basically, it's talking about this child that is dealing with things, out crazily, kind of like fantasizing about things, dealing with it because she's losing a loved one in real life. And yes, that is a sad story, but at the same time, you can make that sad, but at the same time, a little enjoyable, a little bit more entertaining, than how I felt that they brought it out. And that's why it's making this list of 10 worst for me. Simply for the fact, too, the main girl, I think, was a fantastic actress. But I thought that the strong bows of the film that we really know from other films, such as Zoe Saldana and Imogen Poots, I felt that their characters and their performance in it were really lackluster. And I just thought that visually the film was amazing, what they did with the visualization and stuff, and just the countryside and everything like that. But the story and just the lack of the main actresses that are amazing actresses just really lacked for me in the film. And so I found that it was just not as great as what people were bringing. I thought it was going to be a lot better. I thought that there was more to it, like in a fantasy world type of deal, like it's really about killing giants. I didn't think it was about this whole torn out, basically it's, a life lesson about this girl trying to cope with her loved one dying, basically. And I was totally confused about the film. I thought it was totally different than what it ended up being. And so that kind of threw me off too. So that's why it ended up on my worst of 2018 list. Even though this film came out in 2017, but it didn't come out here to 2018, that also is another reason why I made my list too, because I'm like, why did it take so long to get it here? And I decided, like I said, if you have all that extra time to release it here, maybe you could do a little bit more with it. So, another reason why I ended up putting it on the list. So coming in at number 7 on my list, people, number 7 of the 10 worst of 2018 comes to a film that I had high hopes for. It looked really amazing. I mean, it was great up until the end of the film, and then it totally lost it for me. When the end of the film happens and like it gets to a certain point in the film, I just kind of like, this was a fantastic movie, and then all of a sudden it's like, horrible movie. I was like, holy crap, this is so bad. Like, why was this even made in a movie? But it is of great imagination, this film. Lots of great imagination to the director. He has a great, imagination. Great graphics in film. Great performances by people that are involved in the film. And just really good, to start off with. But then, like I said, it just dies. And that happens to be the movie Sorry to Bother You. Now, yeah, this movie got all kinds of praise and stuff like that. I gave it a chance, thought I'd check it out, see what it's, all the hype was about. And I was like literally just like sitting in my seat going, oh my god, this is such a great movie. And then about 3/4 of the movie, all of a sudden the bomb got dropped, and I was like, what movie is this? What stupidity is this? I was just blown away by how stupid it ended up becoming, and totally lost all likeness and respect for this film. And it's like, this was so stupid up until that point, or so good up to that point. And I was just like blown away with how unfortunate it, unfortunately how good it was to begin, but then how it just crappily ended. And so this had to make my list of 10 worst of 2018, simply for that fact that went from such a great movie to such a horrible. And like I said, everyone that was involved did a great job, but the movie just, the idea was really awesome, and then all of a sudden to put that portion into it where it got dropped, where what was really happening, and you're like, why? And so that totally lost for me and makes it on my 10 worst of 2018. Sorry to bother you, though. Still worth watching. Definitely check it out, people, because it is a trip of a film. And make your own decision. But at the same time, that's the, when you get to that point in the film, you'll be like, oh, okay, I can see what happened there. So definitely check it out to see for yourself. So coming in at number 6 on my 10 worst of 2018 is a movie that is actually considered a prequel to an already awesome series. Now, they put out 4 films of this film series already. This is the 5th one of that series. And I just think that this is such a great film series, amazing film series. And I take that back. It's actually 4 films altogether. So the first 3 were amazing, and then this one kind of just like, I was like, what the hell? But the film series and franchise I'm talking about is the Purge series. And the film I'm talking about out of this is the first Purge. Now, the whole idea behind the first Purge, giving you finally the perspective of what started it all, was really interesting and a cool concept. But they just did not execute as well. Simply for the fact that the original director did not come back to direct this one is a big reason why I feel this one wasn't as good. Because the original director, every single one of the first 3, he made them so awesome and intense and amazing. And this one just totally fell short. The whole idea, though, that I said, like, behind it is really awesome, seeing what started the whole Purge off, what, society was trying to do to start these things, was an interesting take to see what got it all started. And everyone involved, I thought, was, decent actors and did a decent job, but a lot of them were just overacting, and I felt that it was taking it too far in too many different directions. And so you really couldn't fully understand everything that was going on in the film, and just the fact that a lot of the mainstays, like, pretty much most of them weren't really always in the picture. It was going back and forth between so many different characters. So it was kind of like a mesh up of bumbling idiotness, I feel. And so I think that's the reason why I thought it was really bad in the worst of 2018, and why it makes my worst of 2018 list. So coming in at number 5 on my worst of 2018 list is a movie that was also another one that was, filmed a year or so ago and got released originally end of 2017, but got released here in 2018, is a film that has a decent cast. I mean, it has an interesting cast of, actors and actresses involved. You had Ella Fanning in it. You had Dylan O'Brien in it. You had so many, decent actors and actresses. And that, of course, is the film called The Vanishing of Sydney Hall, which, when you watch the trailer, it looks like a really interesting and awesome film. But once you actually watch it, you're just like, what the hell did I just watch? The writing was horrible. The acting was, par. But it was so jumbled and jumping back and forth, and it was kind of confusing throughout the film. And so there was a lot of elements that you're like, okay, why did this happen? Why did this happen? Why didn't they embellish on that? It was a really interesting story, but it lacked the story to make it all well cohesive and making a one long story instead of too many intertwining parts. So unfortunately, I just was really sad with this movie, and just was like really disappointed, because it was actually something my girlfriend decided she wanted to check out, and she got it. And I'm like, oh, check it out. It's got a decent cast. And after we both watched it, we were just like, what did we just watch? And, you know, that's another reason why this is on my 10 worst of 2018. It just really, unfortunately, you know, landed at the bottom, and there was so much more they could have done with it, could have made it better, and just an all-around better film. So coming in at number 4 on my list of 10 worst of 2018 is a movie that was big and, you know, considered a huge movie that a lot of people were waiting to see. It was a reboot of an already awesome series that Angelina Jolie made really well, especially the first one, but the second one kind of was supposedly not as great. But this character is a living legend of awesome video game-ness, and she's been done a few different times now in video game series and so forth. And that, of course, is the reboot of the film Tomb Raider. This movie was god-awful. I couldn't believe how bad this film was. Not only did they make Lara Croft off to be like such a baby, 2, she looked nothing like the original one. Of course, they went more with the newer I think it was 2008 when they came out with the newer version of Tomb Raider. They went with that one, but they made her like such a crybaby, and like she wasn't action-packed. She didn't kick butt a lot of times. They made her more like she was a normal person, when that's not what Lara Croft is. So I was really disappointed with that. Also, the CGI work in the film could have been so much better. It was so visually, you could see how CGI it looked. And the action sequences were horrible too, because they were so CGI'd. I don't know how many the actual stunts that the character the actor who played Lara Croft did her own stunts and stuff like that, Alicia Vikander, but I felt that she was just so wrongfully picked for this film. And it just was such a letdown of a film. I was really looking forward to it because, you know, I love the Angelina Jolie ones, and I was looking forward to seeing kind of a newer take on her by somebody else. But at the same time, I wish it was Angelina Jolie, and I just felt that she was nowhere up to par to what Angelina Jolie brought to the character. And just, it was a really big letdown in all those aspects. Could have been written so much better, and just visually could have been such a better film, and that's why this made my number 4 on the 10 worst of 2018. So coming in at number 3 on my 10 worst of 2018 is a film that was a few years in the making and kind of a comeback for the awesome actor, comedian, Mr. Jim Carrey. Now this film has a horrible Rotten Tomato score, but I thought I'd give it a chance because it was based on an interesting true story. I love Jim Carrey. I think he's a great actor in all aspects, drama, action, comedy, and so forth. So, I thought I'd give it a try. And that happens to be a film called Dark Crimes. Now, the story, like I said, is so amazing and an awesome story that it's a true story about this guy that was basically a serial killer over in London. And the whole idea behind, Jim Carrey playing this detective guy that was one of the people that was successful in capturing this guy, basically, was a really interesting vibe too as well. But the movie just lacks so many things. It was horribly written. The acting in it, unfortunately, was really crappy. The actress they picked to play the lead actress, I absolutely think she sucks. I don't think she's a great actress at all. I just think that they could have picked somebody better that could have accompanied Jim Carrey a lot better. And just all in all, I felt that it, was very lackluster, very boring, and just like so awfully put together. It was like so jumbled too at the same time. It was kind of confusing, and at the same time it just lacked everything. And that's why this one's in my top 3 of the worst of 2018. Simply for that, also because it just was such a letdown too, and could have been so much better. Especially expressing that story of what actually happened of that true story. So coming in at number 2 on my list of the 10 worst of 2018. Now this film has gotten a huge hype. A lot of people loved it, thought it was amazing. Visually, it was stunning. The music in it was amazing. It's one of the last films that Johan, before he passed, did the music for. It was just visually awesome. The idea behind it was awesome, but I felt that it was very horribly executed. And that is the new Nicolas Cage movie that just came out a couple months ago. And that, of course, is the film Mandy. I was just like, through the whole film, just like, what the hell am I watching? And at the same time, I'm like, this is just such a jumbled bunch of boring and idiocracy. Even though it was visually stunning and the music was awesome, that just wasn't enough for how bad all the overacting was in the film. And how everyone that was involved, and like just the whole, how they took the idea and just made it horrible. It just was such a crappy movie. And it was so misunderstood and like misunderstanding in every aspect, and just like where they took Nicolas Cage's character to get his revenge. It was kind of interesting, but it really lacked a lot of stuff kind of interconnecting everything. Like it just went from boom, 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 things happening, but didn't really lead into anything. So it was kind of like so short that they didn't really explain everything, and that you could really kind of pause and ponder a little bit before they went on to the next thing to go, oh, okay, he's probably going to do this, or he's going to go this way. So I just thought that this movie was horrendously horrible, and why it's getting the number 2 spot on my worst of 2018. I would just really dislike this movie. I was so disappointed. And, I love Nick Cage. I think he's an amazing actor, but this definitely was not one of his best to date. So that brings us to my number 1, people. Number 1 worst movie of 2018. Can you guess what it is? Probably like, you're probably going to pick another something that a lot of people like. Well, if you guessed that, you are correct. So the next and last movie on my 10 worst of 2018 goes to a film directed by the same guy that directed Ex Machina. Now, this film, I just was literally even more confused than any of the other films on this list. I was literally just sitting there watching this film and like had my jaws open like this the whole time going, what the fuck am I watching? Like literally, I was like, what even going on? Because the whole story behind this film was so awesome thinking. Like, I loved the whole idea that there was this mysterious being or creature or whatever it is basically evolving and creating evolutions of common things that live in our world, and it trying to take us over. And I totally thought that was such an amazing story. I thought it had a great cast. I mean, you had, Natalie Portman in it. You had, just a slew of great actors and actresses involved in this film. Jennifer Jason Leigh, Oscar Isaac. I mean, you had a superb cast, superb writing team, and it just, I don't know what happened. Either that day they were just having a really bad writing day and just decided to put it into the movie and went the wrong vision and way, but I just feel it was so poorly directed. I thought the CGI work in it was pretty decent, but still very noticeable. I thought there was a lot of overacting in it. I didn't care where the characters were going. I thought that there was a lot of nonsense that didn't even evolve in the film. Especially the whole intersecting thing where Natalie Portman's having an affair because Oscar Isaac hasn't been there. It's like, all this stuff that I just thought that was so unnecessary for this sci-fi film. And, that's the whole thing that got me to want to watch it, because I felt it was like a sci-fi action movie, kind of horror film. And when I watched it, and I'm just like, what the hell am I watching? Having my mouth open like this, And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, why did I even waste my time, this 2 hours, to watch this film? So that's the reason why this is my number 1 worst film of 2018. This movie just appalled me. And unfortunately, I'm sorry, people that love it, I didn't think it was anything fantastic or anything good. I definitely thought Ex Machina was a lot better. I definitely thought that was a lot more well directed by the gentleman. And I just thought that this was just an abomination of a film. And definitely will never, ever be a part of my collection, from the fact that I would not ever want to watch it again, unfortunately. I've never been this appalled by a movie, and so after watching it, I was like, I can't believe I actually hate a movie this bad, especially when somebody that I absolutely pretty much love everything, because I love movies. And so a movie to make me hate it this much really shows a really bad movie to me. So that all combined is why also this is my number one worst of 2018. Just totally thought it could be so much better, and I don't get what the critics saw in it. Unfortunately, I'm sorry. But at the same time, different taste, people. Different taste, though. Like I said, this is my opinion. You might love it. You might hate it just like me. But I'm telling you, for my worst, this is my number one worst of 2018. And, I had so much more high hopes for this film. Could have been so much better. So that's it for this awesome, amazing 10 worst of 2018 video, folks. As always, thank you for watching. Thank you for liking. And also, thank you for subscribing. If it's your first time here, or if you've been here before and you haven't hit that subscribe button, what are you waiting for, people? A grand invitation, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss this awesome video and the awesome videos I put up. And as always, people, keep your eyes out for any older, newer videos you might not have seen mine yet. And as always, people, remember the awesome Stardust app, where it's free, it's awesome, it's amazing, and you can watch 3 to 30-second little mini reviews. So if that's something for you, go ahead and download that for free through your Play Store. Look it up. Check me out under the Cyberneticshark or the Cybernetic 13. Follow me and I'll follow you back. And as always, people, catch you in the next one.